Has this ever happened to you? You feel it in your bones, that sacred electric thread connecting you to him. You remember the way his eyes lingered, the way time stopped just for a second, and in that pause your heart whispered, "He feels it too." Then, silence. No call, no message. The void stretches, and your mind becomes a battlefield. Every hour becomes a century. The impulse to reach out burns beneath your skin, but stop. Freeze, let the silence speak, because if he is truly tethered to you, soul to soul, he will feel the weight of your absence, and he will act. Within 24 hours, he will move, or he never truly felt it at all. This is not about rules. This is not about tactics. This is about energy, your sacred feminine energy, and how it dances with his. In every woman lives an ancient archetype, the temptress who waits with power, not passivity. The queen who does not pursue, but receives. The oracle who knows that silence is a mirror, and if you hold it long enough, it reveals the truth. But when a woman is wounded, when her inner girl cries out for validation, she texts, she reaches, she explains, she apologizes for taking up space in a world that taught her she must fight for crumbs. And in doing so, she hands over her throne. The feminine wound is not just about men. It is about centuries of being told, "Don't wait, you'll lose him." As if what is meant for your soul could be lost by being still. When you resist the urge to chase, you invoke a sacred law, the law of polarity. Masculine energy is the arrow. It moves forward, it seeks, it penetrates. Feminine energy is the magnet. It draws in, it attracts, it waits in radiant stillness. This is not weakness. This is the most terrifying power there is. To hold your silence is to hold the mirror. And if he is capable of love, not desire, not lust, not possession, but love, he will not be able to look away. He will feel it, in his body, in the silence, in the echo of your absence. And that discomfort, that ache, that sudden tension in his chest, that is the void calling him to rise. If he doesn't reach out, not because he's busy, not because he's unsure, but because he can walk away without urgency, then, woman, he was never emotionally invested, and your silence did not lose him. It revealed him. Do you know how many women confuse anxious energy for chemistry? How many chase the thrill of a maybe, mistaking it for love? How many pour themselves out, waiting to be seen, when, in truth, they have not yet seen themselves? There is a moment in every woman's story where she stands at the edge, phone in hand, words typed but unsent, heart wide open but trembling, and she must choose comfort or clarity, impulse or intuition, chasing or choosing. What would happen if instead of reaching out, you turned inward? If you let the ache become alchemy? If you let the silence teach you how much you are worth, without needing him to echo it? Because the man who is connected to your essence will not disappear into silence. He may falter, he may take a breath, but if he feels you truly deeply, he will not wait too long. He will return, not because you chased, but because your presence in his soul left a mark that absence could not erase. Every moment you do not send that message, you reclaim another piece of your sovereignty. You rewrite the story your mother and her mother never got to tell. A story where the feminine no longer begs, no longer pleads, no longer performs. She waits, not in weakness, but in wisdom. And so she waits. Not as the girl pacing beside the phone, breath caught between hope and fear, but as the woman who remembers who she is. The one who walks through fire and doesn't flinch, because she knows, if he cannot feel the loss of her silence, he never deserved the sound of her voice. Every hour that passes becomes sacred, not because of what he is or isn't doing, but because of what she is becoming. In that quiet space, between impulse and action, the feminine begins to reawaken. The anima, the soul image within the masculine unconscious, lives in mystery. She is never captured by noise. She is only revealed in stillness. This is where the feminine reclaims her birthright. The right to be chosen without needing to chase. The right to be loved without performing. The right to wait without collapsing. But it takes courage, because silence is not easy. It reflects everything you've tried to outrun. Abandonment wounds, worthiness doubts, the little girl who once had to beg for attention to feel safe. That part of you will scream, "Say something. Maybe he forgot. Maybe he's confused. Maybe he's afraid." But he is not confused. A man who is in his masculine knows what he feels. A man who is emotionally available does not play hide and seek with intimacy. And a man who is falling in love will not allow more than 24 hours to pass in silence. Not if he truly values you. He will feel it like a weight in his chest, like something unfinished, like a thread pulling him toward you in the dark. And here's the truth no one dares say. If he doesn't feel that urgency, then he is not your mirror. He is not your match. He is simply a projection, one you're meant to see through, not cling to. Carl Jung taught that we fall in love not with the other, but with the projection of our inner selves reflected in them. That means every longing, every ache, every "maybe he's the one" is a whisper from your soul. Come home. Look within. Find what you're searching for inside yourself first. Because what you're really seeking isn't a message from him. It's a message from you to you. A declaration that says, "I am done abandoning myself in the name of love. I will not leak my energy to the unready. I will not pursue what must be pulled. Let him rise or let him fall away. That is not your work. Your work is to sit inside your own presence until you are no longer afraid of your own worth. To love yourself so deeply that no silence can make you forget your name. Do you feel that? That trembling in your chest? It's not just longing. It's the death of the woman who begged and the birth of the woman who knows. When you no longer reach out, you signal to the universe itself, "I trust. I let go. I allow the truth to emerge, even if it hurts, because your destiny is not to be tolerated. It is to be treasured, and the man meant for you will feel it. He will be moved by the very thought of you slipping away. And he will act, not because you reminded him, but because he remembers you. You are not here to convince a man of your worth. You are here to become the kind of woman who needs no convincing, the kind of woman whose silence is louder than begging, whose absence is heavier than noise. And when you can hold that silence without breaking, you will finally hear the only message that ever mattered. Your love is sacred. It must be earned. There is a certain kind of silence that only powerful women can hold. Not the silence of fear, not the silence of manipulation, but the silence that says, "I know who I am, and I don't have to remind you." This is the silence of the woman who no longer performs for crumbs of affection. The woman who understands that longing is not always a sign to reach out. Sometimes it is a call to reach in, to find the echoing wound still waiting to be touched, not by a man, but by her own light. He is not your healer. He is not your savior, and if he is meant to be anything, he will be your mirror. But not all mirrors reflect truth. Some distort, some delay, some arrive only to crack and fall away. It is your stillness that reveals the real from the illusion, because the masculine, when not yet mature, chases validation more than connection. He seeks pleasure more than presence. And if he doesn't text, if he doesn't call, if he lets you fade into the silence, then he was not grounded in the masculine. He was dancing in his shadow. And you, woman, you were sent to awaken, not to chase, to stir something in him so deep that it threatens the part of him still hiding. But if he is not ready to rise, you must be brave enough to let him fall. This is where the stoic woman is born, not cold, not distant, but sovereign. She does not act from impulse, because impulse belongs to the unmastered mind. She acts from alignment. She does not try to make something happen. She allows truth to reveal itself, even if that truth is silence. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." For the feminine it becomes, "Waste no more time wondering how a worthy man should act. Watch him." Words mean nothing in the absence of pursuit. And pursuit does not mean empty gestures or flattery. It means presence. It means consistency. It means feeling the pull of your energy and moving toward it, not away. If he is in love, if his heart even brushes against the sacred knowing of your soul, he will not be able to help himself. He will reach for you. He will try. He may not have the perfect words. He may fumble, but he will act. Because love in a man is not passive. It is not still. It is a force. And it does not wait. So ask yourself not if he will text, but what it says about him if he doesn't. Ask yourself not whether he's thinking about you, but whether he is capable of holding you. And most importantly, ask yourself this: why does part of me believe I need to remind someone of my worth? Who taught me that silence is rejection? Who taught me that I must chase to feel chosen? That pain is proof of passion? That my value is measured by another's attention? The truth is, many women grew up inside emotional starvation. And when a man goes silent, the wound is triggered. But the empowered woman does not run toward the pain. She sits with it. She breathes through it. She feels it fully, and in doing so she transforms it, because the very act of not sending the message becomes medicine. Every time you don't reach out, you build your internal temple. Every time you resist the urge, you raise your energetic standard. Every hour you wait, not in anxiety, but in sacred stillness, you become the kind of woman who commands devotion, not through force, but through frequency. The man who feels you on that level will not play games with your time. He will feel your silence as an invitation, not a punishment. And if he has love for you, if he is truly tethered, he will come. Within 24 hours he will know. And if he doesn't, you'll know something even more important, that you were meant for something greater than half-hearted connection. There is a threshold every woman must cross when she begins to rise. It is the moment when her silence becomes heavier than her words, when her presence stops chasing love and begins to command it. This is not pride. It is alignment, because a woman who knows herself cannot be seduced by inconsistency. She no longer asks, "Why hasn't he called?" She asks, "Why would I settle for someone who disappears when it matters?" She no longer waits for scraps of attention. She waits for depth, for truth, for the kind of love that doesn't need to be reminded because it remembers. Feminine energy is remembrance. It is the sacred hum beneath the noise. And when a man encounters a woman who embodies this, who radiates worth without needing confirmation, his soul is stirred in ways his ego cannot explain. It shakes him. It confronts him. It exposes the gap between what he says he wants and what he's ready to receive. And that's why he may go silent, not because he doesn't feel something, but because he does, because she mirrors back to him every unhealed place that still fears intimacy. The woman who holds her silence is not punishing. She is revealing. She is giving him space to rise or to retreat, and either one is a gift. If he rises, she will know. If he retreats, she will still know. Because silence is a sorting mechanism. It shows you who is anchored and who is still adrift. There is no ambiguity in masculine love. When he's in, you'll feel it. When he's not, you'll feel that too. The feminine doesn't need to chase clarity. It arrives when she stops chasing altogether. But this clarity requires one thing: staying still long enough to see the truth. Many women struggle here. They collapse in the waiting. Not because the silence is cruel, but because it echoes every moment in their past when they felt unseen. This is the shadow work. This is where Jung meets the heart, because the projection is not just about him, it's about you. What part of your soul are you asking him to reflect? What unspoken need are you asking him to fulfill through that one text? What child in you still hopes that if you just reach out, he will finally stay? But healing is knowing. If he cannot feel your absence, he was never moved by your presence. A man who is emotionally tethered, who feels you, cannot sit still for long. He may try to stay away. He may tell himself stories, but your energy lingers. It presses into his chest like gravity. And if love is there, it will move him. And what is love really, if not movement toward what matters? This is why silence is not passive. It is active trust. It is sacred restraint. It is the divine art of letting truth arrive without interference. Because when you interfere, when you send that message, not from joy, not from groundedness, but from fear, you override the lesson. You try to create the connection instead of witnessing it. The right man does not need to be reminded of your value. He sees it, he feels it, and he moves toward it without prompt. But you will never know who that man is if you keep interrupting the silence with proof of your worth. The silence is the proof. The not texting is the test, and the one who breaks the silence tells you everything you need to know. So sit in it, not as a girl hoping for love, but as a woman who has already chosen it within herself. A woman who understands that no text from him could ever validate the love she now holds in her own hands. Because the woman who waits, not out of desperation, but out of dignity, she is the one who sets the standard. She is the one who men cannot forget. She is the one who doesn't chase because she knows. If he's in love, he will show up. Not eventually, not someday, not when he's ready, but soon, within 24 hours. Because real love moves. There is something terrifying about a woman who no longer negotiates her worth, not because she's loud, not because she's angry, but because she is unavailable to anything that insults her soul. And when she chooses silence instead of pleading, when she lets the unanswered message stay unsent, she becomes a mirror that no unready man can endure. This is what the world doesn't tell you, that your silence is not emptiness, it is presence, it is density. It is everything you are, held, contained, unshaken. And to the man who has only known women who beg, women who chase, women who confuse pain with passion, your stillness is unsettling. It forces him to confront something he never had to before, the consequences of his absence. If he can go 24 hours without feeling the pull to reach out, he is not the man who's meant to hold you. A man in his masculine essence, when touched by real love, is not passive. He is not indifferent. He feels urgency, he feels purpose. Love to him becomes mission. He will not risk losing the woman who makes him feel seen, inspired, called to something higher. He may hesitate, but he won't disappear. Not if it's real. And if he does vanish, let him. Let the silence become the filter that removes the almosts, the maybes, the if-onlys. Let it strip away the men who never had the depth to begin with. Because you are not here to fix. You are not here to prove. You are not here to send messages into the void, hoping to wake someone asleep in their own avoidance. You are here to be chosen, and to choose yourself in the meantime. You must understand, feminine energy is not about waiting helplessly. It is about becoming so magnetically rooted in self-worth that anything not meant for you naturally fades away. This is not cruelty. This is clarity. Every time you don't reach out, you deepen your connection to the self. You soften, not into collapse, but into wisdom. You build intimacy, not with him, but with the parts of you that were once abandoned. Because before you can receive true love, you must learn to hold yourself through the silence. You must learn to mother the ache, to soothe the impulse, to become the one you were always seeking. And that's when the shift happens. That's when the energy changes, because no man feels drawn to neediness. He feels drawn to wholeness, to a woman who is sovereign. A woman who knows, if he doesn't come, someone else will. Someone aligned, someone capable, someone who doesn't need to be reminded how rare she is. Do not water yourself down in the name of love. Do not shrink your silence into desperation. Do not become the woman who texts just to relieve the ache. Feel the ache. Let it purify you. Let it strip away the illusion that you need anyone to name you. Because the moment you can sit in that discomfort without acting is the moment you step into your power. You become the storm he cannot outrun, the softness he cannot forget, the standard he cannot rise above unless he evolves. And if he does evolve, you will not need to ask. You will not need to beg. You will not need to explain. He will find you. He will say the words. He will close the distance. Because real love closes gaps. It doesn't create them. This is your initiation. The gateway to the next version of you. Not the girl who waits beside the phone, but the woman who walks away from anything that isn't devotion. Because you were not made to remind a man to care. You were made to remind yourself, I am enough, without a message, and the right man. He won't leave you wondering. Now, she becomes untouchable. Not because she is distant, but because she is centered. Her silence is no longer a waiting room for his indecision. It is a sanctuary for her becoming. The pain has softened into power, the ache into art, and the wound, it has become a womb, birthing the version of her that will never beg again. She has tasted her own depth and found it more satisfying than any breadcrumb trail of affection. And now, even if he sends the message, even if the phone lights up with his name, she will not answer from the same place, because she is no longer the same woman. Something has shifted. She has reclaimed her gaze. She's not waiting for him to see her. She sees herself now, in the mirror, in the silence, in the stillness between each breath. She's not empty. She's full, radiant, sovereign. And maybe he does text. Maybe he reaches out, fumbling, unsure, sensing the gravity of what he might lose. And if he does, she will not rush. She will feel. She will listen. She will discern. Because just as she has learned not to chase, she has also learned not to settle. The man who returns must come not only with words, but with weight, with presence, with the kind of clarity that only silence can awaken. The immature masculine may flirt, but it is the mature masculine that commits. And she no longer entertains the in-between. Her soul has no appetite for half-heartedness. She is now calibrated to truth, and truth alone. Anything less tastes like dust in her mouth. This is the work. This is the gift. To become so whole within yourself that you no longer need to chase what is already yours by divine law. When you do not send the message, you say to the universe, I am no longer a servant of my wounds. I am a steward of my worth. And in that decision, everything changes. You attract differently. You walk differently. You speak differently. Not from ego, but from embodiment. Because the feminine doesn't need to demand. She draws in. She becomes the flame, and only those with courage approach. Only those who feel her fire step closer, and if he doesn't step closer, then she knows. She doesn't make excuses. She doesn't blame. She blesses the silence for telling her what words never could. The feminine is mystery, not because she is elusive, but because she is vast. She cannot be pursued by the unready because she requires devotion, not attention, not affection. Devotion, the kind of love that moves mountains in silence, the kind of love that sends the message without being told to, the kind of love that feels the distance and cannot rest until it's closed. This is the man she's available to, nothing less. And now she walks differently in the world, not because he came back, but because she did. She returned to herself, to the body that carries her, to the voice that never left, to the truth that was always waiting beneath the ache. No man can complete her, but a real one. The one meant to stand beside a woman like this will never make her question her place in his life. He will know, and he will act, not eventually, not when it's convenient, but in the sacred space where love lives, now. Because the woman who holds her silence does not ask for proof. She becomes the proof. The woman who knows her worth doesn't chase. She chooses.